Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. And thank you for joining me on this Friday edition. So I decided that I wanted to do this Friday edition as part of the resources and tools that I've learned along my path and along my way from other people who have been successful in their life, in their marriages, in their businesses, that we know that success leaves clues, right? And there are certain things that people who are successful, whether in marriage or in their business or in their relation, in their parenting, that they do differently. And if we want to be successful, then we must study success. If success leaves clues, there's certain things that people who are not doing so well in certain areas that they do, so that forms part of a do not do. So there's a to-do list and a do not do list, and what to do is what we learn from what people who are succeeding in any area where we want to improve, that we must also adapt certain kinds of behaviors or tweak them now and there. But it is important that we study what people who are succeeding in any area where we want to succeed, so that we know how to apply into our own lives or see where we are falling short, because in any area of our lives where we are not trained, we will fail. And so I was watching this movie on YouTube. I think it's a Fat Boy Chronicle of Fat Boys Journaling, but it's just about a boy who was starting high school, and he was big. He was a little bit fat, and he faced a lot of bullying in his school. And but there was this class, a life skill or life orientation class, where the teacher gave them one of the things to do was they needed to keep a journal, and he would check it every week that they are writing on their journal every day. And at first, so this boy didn't really like this journaling thing, and the first few pages he was just complaining and saying a whole lot of things, about what happened at school, how the teacher was talking, but anything besides himself. But as the time continues, and he faced more bullies, and he was self-conscious, he started taking it seriously in journaling. He wrote his feelings, he wrote how his day was, and didn't know why people hated him, but it became his best friend. When he couldn't find anyone to tell his deepest feelings, the journal became his best friend. So I learned about journaling when I started on my path. I didn't grow up journaling. It's one of the things that I learned, that it was across board to every person who is successful, that this is a thing. This is what people who are successful tend to do. They keep a journal. And it is proven, even psychology says that, apply writing on a journal, it increases endorphin and dopamine, which are the hormones that improve your mood and also boost your self-esteem. So it is highly recommended for people to keep journaling. And so there's also other good things of why you keep a journal, like recommendations or the advantages of keeping a journal. And so when we keep a journal, we get to keep our thoughts organized, because when we keep our thoughts organized, then we even get in touch with who we really are, the certain things, how we experience each day, the things that we want to achieve in a day. We get to write our to-do list, and in turn, when we come back at the end of the day and looking at your journal and certain things that was on your to-do list, when you check them out, it also it gives you a sense of accomplishment when you've actually achieved something. And so that's what it does. And certain things that it also does, it allows for a person to self-reflect, because one thing that is really important as we adults, as we grow, is being able to give words and be able to articulate what we really feel. And sometimes there isn't enough, or there's no safe space. Sometimes we have friends and we have family, but when you don't have a safe space where you can articulate with honesty how you really feel, then a journal becomes that best friend, like it did with this boy. And so it allows us to stay organized, to be able to set goals, to have things to do on that day, and give us a sense of accomplishment when we have achieved that. It also boosts our memory. One thing that I learned when I was reading about this disease, man, of losing your mind, where you forget. Alzheimer's. One thing about Alzheimer's that people who, and I'm not saying, okay, maybe I shouldn't say that, but one thing that is very that's big with people who don't read, people who don't find ways to write, and people who don't, continue studying. They continue to, they lose their memory. So for us, a memory is like a muscle. It needs to be trained, and the more that you don't train it, it becomes, it's like a hand that's not being moved. If you had your hand broken and you had to put that cuff thing, and when you take it out, you need to go to a physiotherapist, and he needs to help you for your hand to remember how to move that hand. And it's the same thing with a muscle. A muscle stays active with some activities like reading and continuously becoming a student of life. But another thing that helps the brain power is the ability to write, the ability to journal. And so it does that. It improves your IQ. It improves even your emotional intelligence, to being able to socialize with people. And it gives that discipline. If you know that you journal every day, you wake up every day, and the first thing that you do, whether you start by praying and you do your devotion, and then you take your journal and you write your thoughts, you write your dreams, and when you do that, it's a self-discipline. And we know that with success, there's certain discipline that we must adapt, and not losing that discipline, we add to more discipline. Because once we start, one thing that I realized when I started in my journaling, I didn't know what to write in my journal. In my journal, I wrote to-do list, I wrote my gratitude in the same journal, and as I graduated, I kind of knew the kind of pen that I like to write with. I kind of knew the book that I preferred, and I kind of knew how I like my journal to be color coded, different things, how my prayer is written and how my gratitude are written. So it allows you to be able to create it, because this is your own space. This is your safe space where you get to do that. So it improves our self-discipline, and it gives us a certain kind of routine. And so what I also wanted to say is that when you start journaling, it is not, it depends, if you've journaled all your life, but when you start journaling, you have to allow yourself to learn. You have to allow yourself to grow through this journey, to understand yourself, to read from different people who are journaling, how they journal, and to find a way that works for you, to find the book that you like to write in, and also to find a style. But there's certain things that, that you want to keep in your journal. You want to keep your thoughts, because like I said, your thoughts are unique to you. How you implement certain things is way different than anybody else, and your project and your dreams, how they will be implemented. You may be selling a certain product, but how you implement it may be uniquely different to you. So you want to write your experiences as well, your fears, and your regrets, and the things that you have taken away. And also it becomes part of your self-love way, where you are able to heal yourself. Because as you write about your experiences and the things that you experience, then you get more in tune about who you are. You get to know who you are, because it's hard to love yourself when you don't know who you are, when you don't know the things in your life that triggers you, and the things in your life that keeps you stuck. And so that's where the kind of, that's the role that it plays. And it is important that you understand, you figure it out, you find a way that works for you, you find a book that you write, and you can just start with any book, but it must be a discipline that you incorporate. And so I wanted to come in and just share that. And I want to make this Fridays about a resource Friday, or a tools Friday, because when we start on this journey, there's certain things that we learn. And I believe, I strongly believe that what we learn, we must be able to teach and be able to impact somebody, especially if it has improved your life in any way. And for me, there's certain things that I've done, that I've adopted in my routines and in my life, and they have helped my life tremendously. And if I've never done those things, then I wouldn't know where my life would have been at this point. And so let me know if you are journaling in your journey, and if you are journaling in your life, but and how it has impacted you, and how when you go back and you read your journey and you realize how far you have grown, what are the takeaways and what are you recognizing about yourself, because that's also what it does. It gives you a map. You are able to see your path as you have evolved, and then you are able to teach because it's part of the things that you have experienced and that you have gone through. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you're going to like this. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up and give me some comment on the comment section, and just let me know if there's anything that came up for you, and I will see you on my next video. Take care.